Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the systems that, in my opinion, gets overlooked by a lot of WoW Adventure players, even though it quietly determines the overall strength of the entire league you're part of. And that system is Guardian Soul, together with the Contribution Shop. If you're wondering why your league never seems to be able to expand its member capacity, or your lineup in League Trial always seems to be missing slots, there's a good chance the answer is right inside the skill tree that you may have been overlooking. First, let me quickly explain what Guardian Soul actually is, so you can get a better idea of how it works. This is essentially a skill tree, or in other words, a core talent tree for the entire league rather than for an individual player. That means when you invest into it, the benefits don't stop with your own character. They can also contribute to the overall power of the group, the size of the organization, and the efficiency of resource management for everyone in the league. And honestly, this is one of the things I find pretty interesting about the system, because it encourages players to contribute to the group as a whole instead of everyone focusing only on their own progression. As for how the system works, Guardian Soul follows a mandatory linear progression. More specifically, you can't freely skip ahead and unlock whichever branch you want. You have to complete the nodes that come before it and meet requirements such as complete prior tech before you can continue unlocking the skill paths further down the tree. This is a pretty common design in strategy games, but it also creates a small, long-term planning problem for you. If you upgrade your nodes randomly without following an efficient progression path, you can end up spending more time and resources than necessary. The way you upgrade these nodes is by using prayer attempts. Every time you perform a prayer, you accumulate points that gradually fill the progress bar of each skill node until that node is fully completed. Now let's dive into each specific skill group, because this is the most important part you need to understand if you want to know where you should prioritize your investments. The first group is League Expansion, with Growth Guard being one of its main branches. This branch directly increases the maximum number of members your league can hold, with each upgrade milestone adding either 1 or 2 additional members depending on the level. In my opinion, if your league is still in the development stage and you want to attract more strong players to join, this is definitely a branch you shouldn't overlook. The member limit can become a major bottleneck that prevents your entire organization from growing, so increasing that capacity early can make a surprisingly big difference in the long run. Next, we have the League Trial group, which is directly tied to the League Trial game mode. This group increases the number of members that can participate in the different groups, specifically Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3, within the team-based combat system. There are 2 particularly important branches here: Wolfpack Guard and Rock Guard. Wolfpack Guard increases the overall combat member limit, meaning you can bring more characters into battle. Meanwhile, Rock Guard focuses on a more specialized role by increasing the tank slots limit, which determines how many positions are available specifically for characters whose job is to absorb damage and protect the team. I really like how clearly these 2 branches are separated, because it shows that the developers understand the importance of team composition. It's not always about stacking as many DPS characters as possible while completely ignoring your defensive frontline. The third group I want to highlight is Economy and Benefits, because this is the direct bridge to the Contribution Shop, which I'll talk about in more detail later. This group has 2 main branches: Secret Guard and Treasure Guard. Secret Guard helps you earn contribution points faster. Specifically, every time you perform a prayer, you receive around 10% additional league contribution points. That might not sound like much at first, but when you consider the number of prayers you perform every day and every week, that extra 10% can really add up over time and make a significant difference. Then we have Treasure Guard, which gives you a chance to receive discounts when purchasing items from the Contribution Shop. The discount increases as you level up the skill, starting at 10%, then going up to 20%, 30%, and eventually reaching a maximum of 50%. Personally, I think this is a very worthwhile branch to invest in because it doesn't just help you save resources, it creates a kind of multiplier effect. When Secret Guard helps you earn contribution points faster, while Treasure Guard simultaneously reduces the amount you need to spend when using those points, you can effectively accelerate the rate at which you obtain items from the shop compared to players who ignore both branches. The next group is Milestone/Ultimate. This is where you'll find Heroism, a special active skill that you can use directly in League Trial. Once you unlock Heroism, you'll also gain access to 2 additional enhancement branches, Glory Moment and Heroic Spirit. Glory Moment reduces the cooldown of Heroism by 20%, meaning you can use the skill more frequently during battle. Meanwhile, Heroic Spirit directly enhances the power of Heroism by adding 24% attack and defense. From what I've seen, this is a group of skills that's better suited for players who have already invested consistently into the core branches earlier in the tree. The reason is that these upgrades focus more on optimizing your combat power rather than expanding the basic capabilities of your league. Finally, there's one particularly interesting node in the Guardian Soul tree called Step into Immortality. Unlike the other branches which provide permanent buffs, this node gives you a direct amount of resources once you successfully activate it, such as around 5,000 units of in-game currency. I see this more as a milestone reward, marking the fact that you've progressed a long way through the skill tree. And honestly, it's also a pretty reasonable way to encourage players to keep investing and progressing through the Guardian Soul system. Now let's move on to the second part, which is the contribution shop, because this is where you actually spend all the resources and benefits we just talked about. The currency used in this shop is called League Contribution Points. Its icon is a yellow and purple tornado-like symbol, so it's fairly easy to recognize when you open the shop interface. These contribution points mainly come from the prayer activity I mentioned earlier. And as you can see, Secret Guard in the Guardian Soul tree is one of the key tools that helps you farm these points much more efficiently. As for the purchase limits, the contribution shop is divided into 2 clear categories to help balance the resource economy. The first is the weekly limit, which applies to rarer items or more valuable chests, such as the 5K chest. These purchase limits reset once every week. The second is the daily limit, which applies to lower value chests or more common upgrade materials, such as the 4K chest. These limits reset every day. One important thing to keep in mind is to check the shop's reset timer regularly so you don't miss your daily or weekly purchase opportunities. There's no point in accumulating a huge amount of contribution points if you're not using them efficiently, especially when you have limited purchase opportunities for some of the more valuable items. And this is the point I want to emphasize the most in this entire video: the direct connection between Guardian Soul and the contribution shop through the Treasure Guard branch. When you upgrade this branch, items in the shop can randomly appear with discount labels such as 10% off, 20% off, or even up to 50% off. This can save you a huge amount of contribution points when purchasing essential materials, especially if you're currently at a stage where you need to stock up on resources for upgrading your equipment or characters. So to summarize, if I had to give you one overall strategy, the formula is actually pretty simple. Pray to earn contribution points, use those points to expand your league and optimize your combat lineup, and at the same time invest in Secret Guard and Treasure Guard so you can earn points faster and spend less when shopping in the contribution shop. It's a very well-designed closed-loop system, and once you understand how all of these mechanics connect, you can save yourself a considerable amount of time and resources compared to randomly upgrading things without a clear plan. And that's everything I wanted to share about the Guardian Soul and Contribution Shop systems in WoW Adventure. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to support me in making more in-depth guides like this. And if you have any questions about these systems, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll do my best to respond as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.